Hey everyone, this is a little introductory video for essay number 1, how to get started, how to do well on this assignment. Let's start first with the prompt. Okay, so in the how to get started in this class video, you're going to see the prompt for essay number 1. We already looked at this in the introductory video for the whole class, but it's worth going over again. So, based on what you've learned about silent movies and swing music, answer the following prompt. Popular culture can offer important insights into cultural and societal change. Discuss 2 examples from silent movies and swing music that analyze how popular culture reflected changes that were going on in American society and culture. Okay, to be really clear, when I say 2 examples from each of those first 2 units, 2 from silent movies, 2 from swing music. Make sure to watch essay 1. That's what you're watching right now as a starting point for this assignment. Your responses will be 3 to 5 page, 750 to 150 word essay. It should be 12-point font, double spaced with 1-inch margins. Okay. If you set up your word processor for 1-inch margins, 12-point font, the spacing should be about 250 words per page. So 3 to 5 pages with that. I don't care what type of style format you use for this. You want to use MLA, that's fine. You want to use APA, fine. I don't care about any of that. In terms of citation, all you need to do, if you're going to refer to something out of the book, we're only reading one book for the second unit that you would be talking about in this paper. That's Louis Ehrenberg's Swing in the Drain. So if you were going to cite something from Louis Ehrenberg's book, what you would just do is quote the book, and then after the sentence is over, just use parentheses, give the author's last name, in this case, Ehrenberg, and then comma, the page number or page numbers you are quoting. That's all you have to do. Okay, this isn't a research paper, so you should not be using outside sources for this. I don't need a bibliography. I don't need a work cited. I know what material you're using. You're using my lectures from this class, and you're using what books we've been reading for this. For essay number 1, that's only going to be Louis Ehrenberg's book. Okay. I appreciate the impulse some of you might have to want to use outside material and do more than is required, but you need to resist that temptation to do that. That's not what this assignment is about. This isn't a research paper. I want to know what you've learned in our class here. And therefore, you should be using lecture materials and reading materials from this class, not outside stuff. Right? I want to find out what you've learned. And so essay number 1 is my opportunity to find out what you've learned in our class. If you start bringing in outside stuff, suddenly you're not showing me what you've learned in this class. So don't bring in outside stuff. Use the course material. If you want to do extra for this, well then just really double down in terms of watching the lectures and being careful. Be careful in terms of reading the book and draw good information from the book that we've been using for this first essay. Okay, so formatting should be a problem. 1-inch margins, 12-point font, parentheses, author's name, page number. That's all you need to be doing for this. Okay, you have until midnight, Friday, July 12th, to submit your essay. Submit your essay as a Word doc or a PDF. Only those 2 formats, Word doc or PDF. This is to make sure there's no problems in terms of uploading. Frankly, this happened last semester. Somebody used some different format. A week later, I go to grade her paper, and it's in a format that I couldn't open up. And so she took a late penalty for her essay because she didn't follow the instructions. Okay, so just don't overthink this. Use the formats that I'm telling you. You can use some other word processing format, but then convert it to a Word doc or a PDF before you turn it in. Late submissions will be downgraded 1 letter grade for each week past the deadline. So you can turn it in late, but you're going to get dinged in terms of your grade if you can. All right, so that's the prompt. If you have any questions about this prompt or what you're expected to do, you can email me, come into office hours like we've talked about in the How to Get Started video on this to get any sort of clarification you need. It's better to ask your questions before, make your corrections, write a great paper, than ask questions after the fact, why didn't I do well, when you had maybe some misgivings while you're writing the paper but didn't get clarification. So please get some clarification. All right. Now, I have a rubric to give you sort of my expectations in terms of what various grades are going to look like in terms of these. In terms of what you could expect based on the quality of the material that you're giving me. All right. So there's 4 basic criteria I'm looking at when it comes to grading your paper. And you see that on the left side. Organization is 15% of your grade. Style and clarity is 15% of your grade. The largest component, mastery of course material, is 50% of your grade. Show me what you've learned in this class. That's why I don't want you doing outside research. And then finally, 20% for analysis. All right, so your grade will be based on how well you organize, how clear your style is, how well you use material from the class, and how well you analyze this. Okay, so I give you my expectations for each letter grade, A through D. F's are a total mess, so I don't even bother putting that down there. I don't expect anybody to be getting F's in here. So let's just take a look in terms of organization, what my expectations are for an A paper. Essay contains an introduction and a main body and conclusion. Introduction conveys the main point, the main argument, and offers a preview of what the reader can expect in the essay. The conclusion brings everything together and neatly summarizes the paper's central idea. All right, so there you go. Now, I use this rubric for multiple writing assignments in various classes that I have. So almost all of it pertains to what we're doing for these essay number 1 and essay number 2. But there's a few things that don't quite fit neatly. You know, for example, if you look at my A expectations for analysis here, demonstrate a sophisticated understanding and careful critical analysis of the topic and thesis. You know, okay, that applies here. But this part doesn't really apply to a kind of paper that we're writing here. Compare and contrast perspectives, consider counter arguments or opposing positions, and draw original and thoughtful conclusions. If this was a research paper, I would expect you to analyze counter arguments to what you're writing about. However, for this kind of in-class, non-research assignment, I wouldn't expect counter arguments. So not everything fits perfectly. But this rubric is a good overall highlighting the expectations for the various grades you might get on this. So I definitely recommend taking a look at this. If you go, this rubric is right here under the How to Get Started in this class for the essay rubric. Okay. Let me talk about what students tend to run into problems and pitfalls to avoid in terms of doing well on an assignment like this. Remember what this assignment is about. It's about showing me what you've learned in this class, demonstrating your mastery of material. Okay, so the more you can demonstrate what you've learned in specific ways, the better your grade's going to be. Avoid being vague. You know, you want to say something along the lines of silent movies reflected important changes in American society. Then after you introduce that idea, finding specific examples, specificity. I talk about specific things in a lecture. Later on, when you get to the swing music unit, you're not only going to watch my lectures, but read an entire book about swing music. The more specific you can be, the more detailed you can be, the more impressed I'm going to be with your learning, the higher your grade is going to be. Okay? So try to demonstrate mastery of course material. When you get to the second unit in writing about swing music, you should be citing things from the book. You've read an entire book about swing music. It only makes sense that on an assignment that's going to be 45% of your grade in this class, you're going to want to cite some information you found in the book. That's how you're going to prove to me you did some reading in this class. Okay? Be specific. Okay? Big problem a lot of students run into also is your organization is chaotic. Your grammar is a bit challenged. And a lot of this could be solved with better proofreading. You shouldn't be writing to the last moment and then sending this in. You should finish your writing a bit early and then give yourself enough time so that you can proofread and make sure what you're submitting makes sense. Proofread it yourself. Have somebody else read it for you. Have somebody else's eyes go across your paper to make sure things are making sense in there. Some of the great options also you have on Word, for example, if you're using, is the read aloud option. So you can listen to it read back to you. And I do this with a lot of the things that I write, and I catch all kinds of mistakes when it's read out loud to me. So proofreading and editing are things that now that, up at the university level, we need to be turning in tighter work and making sure things aren't sloppy, that things sound, that our ideas are structured and clear and clearly expressed. Okay. Turning assignments in late, obviously, is another one. Make sure you start right away. I give you the prompt on the first day of this class, so you should read this prompt right away. And as you are beginning, from the first lecture you watch, from the first reading that you have, you should be thinking about, can I use this in my paper? This maybe will be one of the things I talk about. And you're already, right from the beginning, thinking about writing your paper, working on outlines. You should be doing that right from the beginning. This is a short little 5-week class, and you're going to be writing 2 papers for it. So there's no time to delay. All right? Get started right away. That's why I give you the prompt right from the beginning. Okay? So avoid those pitfalls. Get started early. Ask me if you have any questions. I'll get you clarified. Any anxiety you're feeling, come talk to me. I'll try and reassure you that you're on the right track. Also, and finally, everything I'm talking about also pertains to essay number 2. It's all going to be the same expectations. The only thing that's different is going to be a different prompt with a different deadline. And by the way, you can look at prompt number 2 also from the first day of class. All right, everybody. Good luck on this paper. I really look forward to reading your papers. Come visit me in Zoom or send me an email if you have any questions about any of this. Okay, take care. Bye.